Hello, welcome to the Science Behind Happiness web class. I'm so excited to have you join me today. If we've not met, my name is Amy Catherine and I'm an integrative wellness coach, and I am passionate about helping people live their best lives. And today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite subjects, happiness. The pursuit of happiness plays a large role in our lives. In fact, our friend Pascal says, man wishes to be happy and only wishes to be happy and cannot wish to not be so. So, with that, I am motivated to help you achieve better health and wellness by unlocking the secrets behind being happy every day. So if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free. If you're here live with me, post them in the comments and I'll be live to answer them. And if you're watching the recording of that, I'll do my best to respond within 24 hours unless it's over the weekend. In that case, it should be at the beginning of the week on a Monday. Let's just get right into the presentation then. All right, definition of happiness. So the dictionary defines happiness as the state of being happy. Duh. Sounds obvious and ambiguous. Other definitions I found include good fortune, maybe, a state of well-being and contentment, closer, a pleasurable or satisfying experience, happiness. It's relatable, but none of these actually explain what happiness actually is. So I went to the field of psychology, and they describe happiness as the experience of frequent positive emotions such as joy, interest, and pride, and infrequent negative emotions such as sadness, anxiety, and anger. Okay, getting a little bit closer now. To be a little bit more specific, let's consider this definition. Happiness is the appreciation of life, moments of pleasure, but overall, it has to do with the positive experience of emotions. I think that's a little bit closer. But let's still dig a little bit deeper. If you had a chance to watch the TED Talk by Dan Gilbert that I emailed out, recall the example he provided comparing happiness levels in lottery winners to quadriplegic patients. If you're watching this on a recording, you'll find that TED Talk link in the description of this video. All right. So, when comparing happiness levels in lottery winners to quadriplegic patients, the results were surprising, right? He found that after 1 year of living with change, both groups leveled out at the same level of happiness. Now, this is surprising to us because we all imagine how much happier we'd be if we won the lottery. And it turns out, this is just our brain playing tricks on us. He goes on to talk about the studies which found that after only 3 months, even major life trauma had no impact on happiness. So this is interesting to consider. He also explains that we are equipped with a non-conscious cognitive process, and that helps us to change our views of the world. So let's keep digging in on this. Let's talk about the human brain. Our frontal lobe is the part of our brain located directly behind our forehead. It's responsible for our behavior, learning, our personality, voluntary movement, and this is the part of the brain that separates humans from the rest of the animal kingdom. And in the frontal lobe, we have the prefrontal cortex. Now, Gilbert explains this part of the brain acts as an experience simulator, which allows us to imagine experiences without actually having to live them or have them happen. And no other animal has this ability. For example, he uses no one had to actually make liver and onions ice cream and taste it to know it was a bad idea. We have the ability to imagine that and say, yuck, no, that's not going to sell or be tasty. So according to Gilbert, our brain generates 2 types of happiness: natural happiness and synthetic happiness. So what's the difference? So he defines natural happiness as the result of getting something that we wanted. Synthetic happiness is the type of happiness that we make when we don't get what we wanted. So what he's saying is that it's possible to create your own happiness. Let's think about that. However, society has strong beliefs that synthetic happiness is inferior to natural happiness, right? But let's talk about why this societal belief is wrong. All right, so let's start with the important points of his research. What we can take away from his research is, first, a happy life is not always about getting what you want, but it's also learning how to enjoy what you end up with. 2, synthetic happiness is not cheating. It's a real type of happiness. Now, remember back to the definition of happiness I asked you to consider a couple slides ago? I said happiness has to do with the overall positive experience of emotions. So natural happiness relies on external factors, which we often have no control over. Whereas synthetic happiness relies on our internal factors, and that's our ability to shift our perception. So synthetic happiness is actually a more long-term stable form of happiness. So what are the chemicals? What are the happy chemicals in our brain? Serotonin. Now that is considered a happy hormone because of its mood boosting effects. Lack of serotonin is associated with depression. We all know this. So how can we give ourselves a boost of serotonin? Okay, focus on positive memories of the things that you're grateful for. And this actually boosts serotonin production. Our thoughts change the chemicals in our brains. Getting some sunshine. So when our skin absorbs sunlight, it produces vitamin D, which in turn helps produce serotonin. What else? Participate in low intensity exercises, such as going for a walk. And this helps release serotonin. Dopamine. Dopamine is our pleasure hormone, and it increases our drive to accomplish a goal so that we can experience the pleasure of the reward. Dopamine is part of our reward center. And how can you give yourself a boost of dopamine? Well, first by setting specific measurable goals and achieving them. So if you were in my last week's web class, you know how much I love to talk about goals. So setting and meeting these goals are a really good way to give yourself a boost of dopamine. It can be as simple as something as setting a goal to make your bed in the morning. And that is a reminder when you see that you set the goal and you met it, you're actually going to boost your dopamine. Exercising. So exercising raises dopamine levels in addition to the serotonin. So you actually get a double whammy in that instance. Our other happy chemical is oxytocin. Oxytocin is our love hormone. It's released upon physical contact. So from childbirth to a hug, oxytocin is there providing us feelings of love and trust. And so how can you give yourself a boost of oxytocin? Well, getting a massage. The prolonged physical contact that you get in a massage releases oxytocin. And hugging and cuddling your loved ones or your pets. That also is very beneficial. So what do the ancient Greeks define as happiness? The ancient Greeks defined happiness as the joy that we feel when we're striving after our potential. Aristotle said, happiness is a state of activity. When Eleanor Roosevelt was asked about the requirements for happiness, she responded with, a feeling that you have been honest with yourself and those around you. A feeling that you've done the best you could do in both your personal life and your work, and the ability to love others. Michael J. Fox said, my happiness grows in direct proportion to my acceptance and in inverse proportion to my expectation. That's a really good one to remember because our expectations can sometimes lead to disappointment. But if we approach life with an attitude of just acceptance and allowing people to be who they are, it actually increases our happiness. So what about you guys? Let's pause and see how do you define happiness yourself? All right. What does 75 years of research tell us? This is my favorite study. Director of the Harvard Study of Adult Development, Robert Waldinger, shares findings from an ongoing study of adult development. Now, this study has been going on for 75 years. It's ongoing, and it started in 1938 with a group of Harvard College students. Since the study evolved to include their wives and their children and more participants, so it's even a broader picture now of a good representation of the population. So every 2 years, the research group conducts interviews and obtains medical records and complete brain scans. They do blood work. And what does Waldinger state? He says the clearest message that we get from this 75-year study is this: good relationships keep us happier and healthier, period. That's fantastic to me because that's something that we can do. So the three main lessons that we learned from this study are all about relationships. One, the more socially connected that someone is to family, friends, and community, the healthier and happier they are. The people who are isolated suffer from poorer health and are less happy. Two, someone can be in a crowd and still be lonely. So therefore, the number of friends someone has doesn't directly correlate to their happiness. It's actually having close connections. It's the close connection that you have. So it can be one person even, just having that close connection to your friends, your family, someone in your life. Three, the final lesson learned is that meaningful relationships don't just protect our bodies, they protect our brains too. The study found that when participants had others to lean on and continually developed close relationships in their life, these individuals experience more overall happiness. So how do we do it? We know the importance now of having good relationships. It's important to be happy, and it protects our brain. But how do we develop and sustain good relationships? Let's think about this. This starting out can be as simple as replacing your screen time with face-to-face time with the people that you care about, or the people that you're trying to cultivate new relationships with. Put your phone down, get off the computer, look them, sit there, be with them, be present, spend time. Liven up a relationship by doing something new together. Pick a new recipe. Decide to, if you have a globe, you can pick a country, spin the globe, let your fingers stop on the globe, and then look up a recipe for wherever your finger lands and cook that together. Reestablish a date night. Start a weekly game night with a group of friends. Reach out to one of your family members whom you've lost touch. You can also try joining a group of like-minded individuals. Now, I know we're in quarantine and COVID has placed many restrictions on many of us in certain states, especially here in New York. But websites such as meetup.com are a great space for meeting new people, and right now they have many groups that are meeting online. Also, Facebook groups. I have a happiness group that I would love for you to join that I'm going to post at the end of this. Some of you are already members in there. What else? You can join a class. Take a class in something. I've developed some really good relationships, friendships, through my coaching certification. My classmates, I connected. It was part of our training was to coach each other, and I've through that process have developed many close friends. So you can take a class. There's many free classes online too. Maybe you want to join a walking group or learn a new skill. If you're in a place where there are no restrictions in group meetups. And in the future, that's something that you can do when the restrictions are lifted. But, pick something that you're interested in. Simply type in a subject and find meetups or find groups online and meet these people, and then reach out. Put yourself out there. Actually approach people in conversations in the comments directly. Send them private messages. This is how I connected with my classmates in the classes the business school that I've been in online, as well as the coaching school. I took initiative and I reached out to those people. So those are some options. Does anybody else have any ideas? Gratitude. Gratitude is a great way to foster a happy disposition. This is proven. We know it. We've heard it. Dr. Robert A. Emmons has been coined the world's leading scientific expert on gratitude. And his research shows that people who regularly practice gratitude report experiencing more joy, pleasure, optimism, happiness, and higher levels of positive emotions. He emphasizes the importance of making a distinction between feeling grateful and being grateful. According to Emmons, feelings develop from the way we see the world and the thoughts that we have about the way things are. So this is our perceptions of the way we think things should be. And we can shift those perceptions so that we can generate more positive emotions. Being grateful is a choice, right? Gratitude provides a perspective from which we can view life in its entirety and not be overwhelmed by temporary circumstances. That's a quote by Dr. Emmons. Gratitude. Start a gratitude journal. How can we become more grateful? So here are some proven techniques to become more grateful. First one, start a journal. This is one that I have. Every day I keep a gratitude journal. Every morning I start my day with gratitude. So you pick a time that works for you, whatever time that might be. It could be when you wake up. It could be before you go to bed. Have a book, but put it beside your bed. I think that works very well because this way, whether it's before you go to bed or you're starting your day or both, you have that notebook, a reminder, and that reminds you to recall and record your moments of gratitude. 2, you can reflect on questions such as, what have I received from fill in the blank? And what have I given to fill in the blank, right? 3, prayers of gratitude. Now, in many spiritual traditions, the prayers of gratitude are considered the most potent form of prayer. So spending some time prayerfully before we fall asleep or just when we wake up, lay there, and we can, in a prayerful or meditative or reverent manner, as I would like to say, think of the things that we are grateful for. And just in that reverence of gratitude and acknowledging, that's a prayer of gratitude. And it's a really great way to start and finish your day. Visual reminders. I love these. These are a great way to trigger mindfulness and thoughts of gratitude. You can use Post-its on your mirror in your bathroom, a whiteboard or Post-its on your refrigerator, somewhere that you walk by often, and you will see that your notes on my refrigerator, I use the alphabet magnet letters, and they spell grateful on my refrigerator. Practice the motions. So this is a good one. In Hollywood, they say fake it until you make it. And there's something true about this. Scientifically been proven. Smiling, saying thank you, and writing letters of appreciation regularly will strengthen the emotion of gratitude. Putting action behind your gratitude deepens the positive experience of your gratitude. So when you actually look at someone, smile, say thank you, or physically write a letter of gratitude and appreciation to someone, specifically telling them what you're thankful for, gives back to you as much as it gives to them. It multiplies the experience and creates more ripple of gratitude. And as you're cultivating your gratitude, look around you and realize that every circumstance offers an opportunity for appreciation. So get creative, and as you continue to incorporate more of these practices, you'll be able to recognize when situations call for you to actually express gratitude more openly. So have fun with this, let it evolve, and watch your happiness increase. mindfulness is another one of my favorite subjects. I have at least two web classes coming up on mindfulness. But just briefly to cover it, mindfulness is defined as a mental state achieved by focusing one's awareness on the present moment and calmly acknowledging and accepting your feelings, your thoughts, and your bodily sensations. Mindfulness is being used in various modalities of healing and practice nowadays. Ultimately, mindfulness is the focus on the here and now. Achieving mindfulness is not easy at first. It does take practice, and research has shown that those who practice mindfulness regularly are happier because their thoughts are not consumed by the thoughts of fear of something that might happen, or trying to control something that might happen, or analyzing what did happen. Mindfulness teaches us the ability to be centered and develop your inner resources, which in effect deepens happiness. So how does mindfulness lead to happiness? It helps you end the loop of negative thoughts, helps you connect better with others by being present. It helps you deepen your inner contentment by learning to really develop your inner resources. And it enhances your experience of gratitude. When you're present in nature, thankful for what's around you, the experience is definitely deepened. So let's just get into one of my introductory mindfulness techniques, because it doesn't happen automatically. This one is super easy to do, super easy to remember. You can do it anywhere, anytime, and with a little bit of practice, it starts to retrain your brain. So let's try this exercise right now. I want you to get into a comfortable seated position and just take a few breaths. And I want you to look around you and notice 5 things that you can see around you right now. Now, try focusing on something you don't normally notice. Look for 5 things. Okay. And then move on to 4 things that you can feel. Take a breath and bring your awareness to the things that you currently feel, like the texture of your clothing. Is it tight? Is it loose? How does it feel on your skin? Is there a breeze blowing? Do you feel some air circulating? Do you feel the seat that you're sitting on, right? And then 3 things that you can hear now. Listen and mentally note 3 things that you can hear, such as maybe a bird chirping outside, the hum of the refrigerator, someone watching television or listening to music in another room. Now notice 2 things that you can smell. Try to identify smells that you wouldn't normally notice. And then lastly, notice 1 thing that you can taste. You can take a sip of water if you have one. If you have gum or mint, you can use, or you might taste what you last ate, or you just brushed your teeth, or the taste of your mouth. Have you ever noticed that? All right, so you can do that anywhere, anytime. It's called the 5 senses exercise. If you catch yourself even being caught up in some negative emotions, it's really good to kind of bring you to the present, to kind of pull you out of any kind of negative loop. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. So 5 senses, right? That's super easy to remember. And when you practice that for a while, here's another one. This one, once you're comfortable with the idea of mindfulness, it's really a simple practice. I think a lot of people don't really understand. They think it's about meditating and emptying your mind. It's not that at all. It's about being present, and you can go for a walk and put these things into practice. Something that I particularly like to do. Or sit in your yard, do it in different places, try it at work, try it at home, try it in the bathroom, try it in your backyard. But here's another one that you can do. I want you to get in a comfortable seated position. And a lot of people don't particularly find the seated position in this easy pose, as they call it in yoga, as pictured here. You can sit in a chair. And just put your feet flat on the ground and have a straight posture. So what we're going to do, we're going to turn off the automatic pilot that we're always on, and just bring awareness to what we're doing, thinking, and sensing in this moment. So take a moment and settle into your comfortable posture. Notice the thoughts that come up. And acknowledge your feelings about those thoughts. And then let them pass. And then move on to the next thought that pops in. Acknowledge your feelings. Let it pass. Now, bring awareness to your breath. Focus only on the act of breathing and how your body reacts with each breath. For example, is your chest rising and falling? Or is your belly pushing out and then back in as you breathe? Notice how your lungs expand and contract as you breathe. And just find a natural pattern to your breath. And then you anchor yourself into the present by paying attention to your breath in your body. So, as you pay attention to your breath for a few minutes, you can move on from there and expand your awareness to the sensations in your body, like any tightness or aches. Or perhaps after you've been doing this for 30 seconds or a minute, you might notice a lightness in your face or shoulders. And then you can even take that a step further by expanding out even further into the environment around you. Just be present. And again, if thoughts come in, that's fine. Acknowledge the thought. Acknowledge your feelings about that. And then just release it. All right. Very good, everyone. Great job. So, who is Nancy Etcoff? Dr. Etcoff is an evolutionary psychologist and instructor of the science of happiness at Harvard Medical School. Her research into the question of happiness exposes surprising results. Her findings reinforce things we should have known all along, like the fact that having flowers in the house makes us happier. If you watched her TED Talk that I sent out, she says we are wired to pursue happiness, not only to enjoy it, but to want more and more of it. Now, one of the key points in the science of happiness is that happiness and unhappiness are not endpoints of a single continuum. In a study of recovering hospital patients, two groups were examined. One group faced a brick wall, while another looked out the window at trees and nature. So the group who looked out on the brick wall stayed in the hospital longer, they needed more medication, and they had more medical complications. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more. But also, according to Etcoff, happiness is contagious, and our happiness has a positive effect on not only our friends, but also our friends' friends. So they ripple out into further past even our contacts. So what is this connection? Going back, why did the patients looking out on nature get better more quickly? Research is growing on the connection that nature makes us healthier and happier. A 30-day study was conducted that involved people doing something wild, so, spending time in nature for every day for 30 consecutive days. These participants were asked to complete a survey at the beginning and end of the study about their perceived connection to nature, how they interacted with nature, and how they felt about their health and happiness. What did the study show? Well, it showed that there was a scientifically significant increase in people's health, happiness, and connection to nature just by being encouraged to spend more time in it. And amazingly, the participants found that their newfound happiness was even sustained for months following the challenge. One theory accounting for the nature happiness link is the biophilia hypothesis. This suggests that we love nature because we evolved in it. Nature teaches us that there is nothing wrong with us. In fact, studies show that people's body image improves by focusing on nature. The diversity in nature reinforces the beauty in being different. Time slows down when we're in nature. Urgency and deadlines, they melt away. The ecosystems embody harmony and balance. And quietly witnessing this balance and harmony renews our appreciation. Nature calls you back to reality. It allows you to surrender comfort and control, and it reinforces acceptance, right? Going back to Michael J. Fox's, acceptance of what is. Being in nature provides us a sense of awe. We realize there are things at play much larger than us when we're in nature. So, I want you to share. What about nature makes you happy? Comment. Studies show that lottery winners do not become significantly happier than they were before. We talked about this before. If it does, it lasts for 3 months. After that, the happiness factor levels right back out to where it was before. Also, wealthy people, they're not significantly happier either. Research has found that possessing wealth and material goods, it does not lead to happiness. Giving them away actually does. Studies of people who practice volunteering have shown that they have better psychological, mental health, and they live longer. Another study has shown that donating money or spending money on experiences rather than material goods is positively correlated with happiness. By being more generous and charitable, happiness increases with the amount of money you give to people in need by volunteering or by spending more time helping other people. So, there you go. How can we give more? All right, here's a list of ideas, and I want you guys to comment. How do you give back? Here's some ways to do it without spending money. You can volunteer for a cause that you care about. You can cook food for those in need. You can go donate blood, become a mentor, assist seniors in need. You can visit soldiers' spirits. You can write letters and have those sent to the soldiers. You can help build houses. You can share your skills. You can be a mentor, a big brother, a big sister. You can pick up trash in your neighborhood or when you're on a walk anywhere. If you see something, pick it up and put it in the trash can. And what else do you guys have? Please add. I want to hear more. To wrap this up, I've got 8 more tips that are proven scientifically, techniques to cultivate more happiness. Savor the moment. That's the first one, savoring. A friend of mine once told me that at the end of his day, he would just run a play of the day and savor all the moments. And that stuck with me. And then later on, I found that this is actually a scientifically proven way to increase your happiness. So really just A review of your day at the end of the day is a good way to savor. I've incorporated savoring into my gratitude practice. So in the morning, every time I write in my gratitude journal, I actually do a gratitude journal and a run through of the previous day, savoring all the things from the previous day that I can come up with that I am thankful for. 2, take control of your time. Spend less, don't be on the screen so much. Social media is good for connecting with people. I love it. It's a really good, but when I find myself just scrolling, I try to take control of my time and put it into something that provides me with more happiness, such as putting a presentation like this together. This really brings me joy. But you don't have to do this, but you can find something to get involved in. Act happy. Again, fake it till you make it. It works. There's science to prove it. When you smile, your brain doesn't know the difference. Whether you're faking it or really smiling, it sends the same chemicals to your brain. And exercise. Exercise makes you happier. Sleep. It's very important to get sleep and rest. That definitely boosts all of your healthy hormones. Give time and attention to your close relationships. Develop those relationships, those friendships. Really value them. Accept people for who they are and have low expectations of them and just accept them and love them and give them time and attention. Be mindful. So what that means is be present. Put those steps in practice. Start being present. When you catch yourself going into the past or worrying about the future, stop yourself, do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. Express gratitude. Again, so putting action behind your gratitude. Smiling, saying thank you, writing thank you cards to people, or emails, specifically naming what you're grateful for. Your gratitude journal, like I mentioned before, but putting action also behind the gratitude and looking for opportunities in your day throughout circumstances where you can express gratitude. And 8, give more. Give more. Volunteer your time. Do something nice for your neighbor, even a smile to someone on the street. So remember, the key to happiness is knowing you have the power to choose what to accept and what to let go. The power is in your hand. So before we part, I want to know, how does this quote make you feel? I, for one, am empowered, and I'm excited that every day I get the ability to wake up, do the things that science has proven to increase the happiness, and I have control. I have the ability to choose happiness, and we all do, and share that with others. So thank you again, guys. The references, if you're watching this on a record, I have listed all of the references that I used to put this webinar together. Feel free to check those out. And thank you, guys. This was super fun. I'm so happy and that I was able to share this experience with you and that you gave your time and shared it with me. Happiness is my favorite subject. In fact, again, like I mentioned before, I have a Facebook group dedicated just to the pursuit of happiness. And you can join us at www.facebook.com/groups/happier every day. I'll put that in the description of this video as well as in the comments if you're here live. Wish you all the best in your endeavors in living happier lives. I want you to know I am here to support you. If you have any questions, feel free to post them up in the comments. If we're live, I'm going to take them live. And if you are watching this recording, you can email me at amy@amycatherineevans.com or post them in the comments section because your question can help someone else as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, it's the Facebook group is www.facebook.com/groups/happier every day. Join us in this group where every day inspiration is shared. Everyone interacts. It's really just a great place to be positive. Thank you again so much. All right. See you soon.